CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Mekovic.
Right now on the afternoon edition, terrible news from the Sierra. 8 skiers who were caught in an avalanche yesterday near Lake Tahoe have been found dead. One other is still missing this afternoon. That update just came from the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. 6 other skiers had already been pulled to safety after that avalanche near Lake Tahoe yesterday. Nevada County deputies say the slide hit late Tuesday morning near Castle Peak, that's just outside of Truckee, as a powerful storm was dumping heavy snow on the Sierra. Search and rescue teams spent hours battling whiteout conditions to reach this group. Local and state officials gave an update within the last hour. So here's what we know right now. 8 people confirmed dead. There is still 1 hiker missing who is presumed dead. The Nevada County Sheriff says the weather is preventing them from searching. There were 15 people on this backpacking trip, 9 women and 6 men. 6 people were rescued yesterday, including 1 guide and 5 other hikers.
It was reported by the individuals that survived that they were attempting to go out as a group, that someone saw the avalanche, yelled avalanche, and then it overtook them rather quickly.
Now, 2 of the survivors were taken to the hospital. 1 was released, the other expected to be released today. There is still 1 hiker missing in all that snow. Local officials say conditions are too dangerous to keep searching right now. That search hitting close to home to many members of the search and rescue crew.
As one of the 9 missing decedents is a spouse of one of our Tahoe Nordic search and rescue team members. So as you can understand, this has not only been challenging for our community, it's been a challenging rescue, but it's also been challenging emotionally for our team and our organization. We are committed to being here until the end and making sure we make all these recoveries. As Sheriff Moon mentioned, the decedents will be transported to the Placer County morgue upon recovery and getting them off the mountain down at our Roseville facility. But in closing, I would like to add my request to members of the public during this time, and that is please avoid the Sierras during this current storm and in the upcoming days. Avoid mountain travel. It's treacherous. Avoid the backcountry. Please allow us to focus all of our resources on continuing to recover these bodies for the family and bring them home.
Here's a little more information about the trip. It was a 3-day backcountry excursion put on by Blackbird Mountain Guides. The group had been staying at the Frog Lake huts since Sunday, and on the 3rd day when the avalanche happened, they were returning from the huts to the trailhead. The company's website says you need intermediate backcountry experience and a moderate fitness level for this trip. Another live look now at conditions in the Sierra. It is just a mess. That snow continuing to fall. Meteorologist Jessica Burt's joining me now with a closer look at what crews have been dealing with. Such a tough job.
And one thing I really want to pinpoint, what he said just a second ago during that brief, was this is not the time to be heading into the Sierra. Road conditions are treacherous. It's very true. And you know, I've been there where you have that ski trip planned weeks in advance. You already called off work. You just want to go anyways. It doesn't matter. Be careful out there on the roads. And so I want to show you current conditions, because as we head into the evening hours tonight, it's only ramping up more. First things first, widespread throughout the Rockies, but back here in the Sierra and up into the Cascades, we're under winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. And just from now into our Friday forecast, we'll see an additional about 20 inches of snow accumulate, especially in those higher peaks. Donner Pass is a good example. Alpine Meadows is another great example too. And so you take a look at that live Doppler radar. Just within the past couple hours, we saw it kick up along the foothills, now heading up into those higher elevated areas, and this is only going to get heavier into the overnight hours tonight. So let's actually dive into our first alert Doppler back here in the Bay. Some other things going on. Of course, all the rain that we're seeing here is the exact same system that's bringing in heavy amounts of snow for our friends in the Sierra. We're also seeing some snow accumulate here in Mount Hamilton, just south of us. Light rain right now throughout the Bay. Let's head over to the map real fast. I want to show you current conditions at this 12 o'clock hour. Here's where where we're at. That snow, by the way, down into Mount Hamilton, it's the first time in 3 years the Bay Area has seen winter weather advisories issued by the National Weather Service. And from now into the 5 o'clock hour, we can see an additional an additional 1/10 of an inch of rain accumulate in places like Morgan Hill, all the way over into San Jose. I'll have the rest of the evening coming up in just a bit, as well as the next big system right around the corner. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center. And of course, we know that parts of the Bay Area are getting on and off rain today. Commuters had their umbrellas out. Our Bay Area peaks are also getting some snow. This is what Mount Diablo looked like just this morning from Concord. It was all the way up near Loma Prieta, where we actually found a dusting of snow along the sides of the roadways.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, we are getting on and off rain in some parts of the Bay Area today. Commuters had those umbrellas out in downtown San Francisco this morning. A soggy walk or maybe a cab ride to the office. And cleanup is underway after storms pounded the Bay Area with rain and heavy wind bringing down trees yesterday. Power was knocked out for several neighborhoods. In some cases, it took hours to restore because of the damage. So we're going to stay on top of the storms hitting California this week. And Jess is going to be back for more first alert weather coming up in mere moments to talk about the next storm hitting. We'll also keep you posted on the free CBS News app or our website, kpix.com. That next storm hitting tonight. San Francisco students back in class after the teachers' strike shut down schools for 4 days. We saw students lined up outside Visitation Valley Elementary School this morning. The district and the United Educators of San Francisco reached a tentative $183 million agreement to end the strike. That includes fully paid family health care for educators starting in 2027, wage increases, and changes aimed at easing special education workloads. Superintendent Maria Sue on campus to welcome back families and staff.
I know that this past week has been really rough and difficult for a lot of people. But where we are now is really focusing on healing, on coming back together, on collaboration and moving forward.
District leaders say they will tap into reserve funds to cover the cost of the agreement while they work on a long-term plan to stabilize the district's budget. In the East Bay this afternoon, educators in Oakland will rally with families to demand stable classrooms and more student-centered budgets. This as the Oakland Education Association pushes the district to stop cuts. In Berkeley, hundreds of teachers, parents, and students plan to march to the school district board meeting, demanding full staffing, fair pay, and long-term stability for classrooms. We are seeing this school fight all around the Bay Area as public schools are underfunded. In Contra Costa County, schools in Antioch facing deep cuts right now with almost 300 positions on the line. The district trying to erase a $30 million shortfall. Tonight, the Board of Trustees will consider resolutions authorizing those potential cuts, which district staff say would save about $36 million. Any affected employees would have to get written layoff notices by March 15th. And today, Oakley Union Elementary School District Board voting on 2 June bond measures that could raise $123 million for classroom repairs, safety upgrades, and infrastructure work. At the same time, the district is moving to cut about 40 positions, most of them already vacant, to help close a growing budget deficit. More than 1,000 Marin healthcare workers are hitting the picket lines today in a one-day strike over pay and healthcare benefits. Union leaders say some nurses, technical and support staff are walking off the job to pressure hospital management to take their concerns seriously. Marin Health says the hospital will stay fully open with extra replacement staff on hand to maintain patient care while negotiations continue. Well, what BART calls its doomsday scenario may no longer require station closures. The agency's transit director says there has been a significant shift in the plan to shore up that huge $376 million budget deficit. Its announcement came nearly a week after the board of directors first discussed the impact on operations if BART cannot find more money. So the scenario involved closing 10 or more stations, cutting service, and laying off workers. The agency said it would need money from a proposed tax hike on November's ballot to limit cuts. Now they are just an option. Director Mark Foley spoke about what the new scenario could look like.
So phase 2, which is starting in July of 2027 or FY28, would actually look at closing up to 15 stations. This is now an optional component of what we hopefully will adopt next week at the BART board meeting, because we want to see how well phase 1 works.
Phase 2 would also limit service on BART's yellow line while increasing fare costs by 50%. If BART does not get the additional revenue from the tax hike, how much would it actually cost you? Well, the ballot measure would raise the sales tax by by a half a cent rather in 4 counties. So half a cent, 4 counties. Let's get that clear. Alameda, Contra Costa, San Mateo, and Santa Clara. In San Francisco, it would jump by 1 penny. The changes would last for 14 years, raising about $1 billion a year. New at noon, an Emerson College poll has Republican businessman Steve Hilton pulling ahead in the California governor's race. Here are the numbers right now. Steve Hilton is on top with 17%. Congressman Eric Swalwell now tied with Sheriff Chad Bianco for second place at 14%. Meanwhile, 21% of people say they are still undecided right now. The poll asked voters what issues they care about. Number 1 was the economy, followed by housing affordability. Third was threats to democracy. Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area, a landmark civil rights case about kids and social media. The claims from parents against Meta, with the CEO now taking the stand. Plus, a fight to save trees in the city. We're meeting a man in San Francisco set on keeping them rooted. Why he says new proposed rules could do the opposite. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg arrived at a Los Angeles courtroom this morning to testify in a landmark social media addiction trial. Family members held hands outside of the court in support of a young woman at the center of this case who says that her mental health was damaged after she became addicted to Instagram as a child. They say that using those apps made her feel depressed and suicidal, and that social media companies should be held liable. Zuckerberg is expected to be questioned about studies that Meta conducted itself to see how Instagram affects young users. Internal documents show that the company was aware of potential harm, according to Reuters. But Meta's lawyers argue that the woman's health issues likely stem from a troubled childhood and that social media served as a creative outlet. People in San Francisco are voicing concerns over a plan they say could lead to the destruction of many trees. Kenny Choi spoke with people about why they believe this could reshape the city for the worse.
Filling up a plastic barrel with water from a city hydrant will get a few stares. Josh Klipp has done this countless times to save hundreds of trees.
Trees don't solve our environmental problems, but they do clean our air. They can't stop wildfires, but they can hold back the particulate matter. They can't stop global warming, but they can give us shade and reduce urban heat islands.
Volunteers formed a group called Mission Verde years ago and convinced the Department of Public Works not to chop down nearly 80 trees lining 24th Street.
You can only imagine what this neighborhood would look like if all of these larger stature trees would not be here.
Klipp is now pushing back against newly proposed rules that would give developers the option to pay an in lieu fee of $2,590 instead of planting a required tree. Developers claim the current requirement tied to construction projects can delay and add costs. The policy change would shift the tree planting responsibility from property owners to the city. San Francisco Supervisor Alan Wong is co-sponsoring the mayor's legislation.
The simpler we can make things for developers and other people that are trying to make changes to their property to build housing, that's a good thing.
What I have seen is that our city makes a lot of promises about tree planting, but it doesn't live up to them.
The city says fees will be used to plant trees in underserved neighborhoods while reducing permitting timelines by weeks. But Klipp says as part of the proposed reforms, the elimination of an appeals process when the city initiates a tree removal is even more concerning, saying that will result in losing more trees across the city and incentivize developers to get the city to do its tree removals for them on the taxpayer dime.
There are a lot of people who are looking for a good thing to do in this world right now, and including us in the process is the way to go forward, not excluding us.
The Department of Public Works declined an on-camera interview but sent a statement instead, reading in part, "We've already seen multiple hazardous trees fall during appeal periods. By eliminating the hearing and appeal process for hazardous tree removal, we can ensure trees are removed safely before they fall. Klipp says the new policy will make it easier for developers to permanently design over spaces that might have accommodated trees in the future. He believes it's the biggest fight in city history to save trees in San Francisco.
All right, back to our first alert weather, taking a live look outside in San Francisco. I woke up today and was like, wow, blue skies, novel concept. We haven't seen that in a while.
Blue skies for 5 minutes,
right.
And then the cloud came in. I felt so bad. I texted my boyfriend, how was your commute to work? It must have been dry. He was like, I got rained on. I'm like, oh no, you got that little splash that ended up going over San Francisco.
I can't imagine all of your conversations with people being the meteorologists.
It's like that. But the reality is today's a tricky day because all of us know what I'm talking about when I say it's spotty. So what I'm starting off with right now, just below me, is current conditions at this 12 o'clock hour. We're seeing spotty showers already. So I'm not lying when I say we do have rain in the forecast. It's just hit or miss throughout the Bay Area from now into that 5 o'clock hour. And we're going to continue to see that past 5 o'clock all the way into the evening hours tonight, amounting up to around 1/10 of an inch in places like San Jose, down into Morgan Hill, Santa Cruz also. You make your way up a little bit more north, well, there's less impressive rainfall totals for now, but I want to continue to advance that clock all the way into the overnight hours tonight. This is around midnight, what you see below me. Now it's just a sea of green, which you're probably thinking, that's not an attractive floor right there. The reality is we're gearing up for some heavy storms right around the corner into the overnight hours tonight that are going to deliver in more thunderstorm activity and gusty winds right around the corner. So here's where we're at right now. Light spotty conditions in places like Watsonville, down into Marina and Monterey. We had a little bit more north now. Mount Hamilton's been seeing a dusting of snow, and we're continuing to track those conditions because right now along the Santa Cruz Mountains and all the way over to Mount Hamilton, we're currently under a winter weather advisory. The first time in 3 years the Bay Area has seen one. So that's something to put on the map too. Drier conditions north near Napa, Santa Rosa, but you pass the Golden Gate Bridge down into San Francisco. It's just hit or miss right now. And we're continuing to watch that develop, just like I showed you a second ago on the floor map. Now here we go into the overnight hour. Watch this rotation pulling in from offshore. This area of low pressure will bring in gusty winds right around the corner in the early morning hours tomorrow. Timing this out this afternoon alone, for the most part, we're seeing about 10 to 15 mile per hour wind gust. It's around 3 a.m. tomorrow, 4 a.m. tomorrow, where we see gusts up to around 40 miles per hour. So let's just time that out. So from today into the overnight hours tonight, early morning hours tomorrow, we are gearing up for some active weather. And then we're left with cloudier conditions Friday and Saturday before more showers start rolling in, diving into early next week. We have a lot of unsettled weather right around the corner. More on that coming up in a bit. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jess. Still ahead, companies, even countries, scrambling to invest in artificial intelligence. But is it too much too soon? The question we're always asking. There's a new warning from a top Bay Area scientist. Hundreds of billions of dollars are flowing into AI, with countries and companies racing to invest. The newest breakthroughs are on display at a summit in India, with tech CEOs competing to build super smart AI systems. But listen to the warning from a top UC Berkeley scientist.
When you're taking over all cognitive functions, the ability to answer a question, to make a decision, to make a plan, then you are really dehumanizing. Literally, you are turning someone into less than a human being.
Yikes. Cal professor Stuart Russell says governments around the world need to understand the dangers of AI and make sure companies develop it safely. Yeah, good luck. We'll be right back. All right, back to our breaking news in the Sierra Nevada County. Officials confirm 8 people were found dead in the snow after a backcountry avalanche near Castle Peak west of Truckee. That snow came down yesterday. 1 person is still missing in it. 6 survivors were rescued on Tuesday night. The mission has shifted from rescue to recovery as they try to locate that last hiker. That is it for the afternoon edition. Remember, we are streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app and on our website, kpix.com.